Welcome. Welcome once again to the Queen's Park Oval. We're getting ready for another interesting contest in the TKR TTCB T20 Festival. And of course, the action is waxing warm. We just had a thriller here earlier, and we anticipate another big one. The U-19s are here with us as well, and the Prison Sports Club with us, also with us here today. They're the ones who are going to be doing battle in a short while. Brandon Boudou is the captain, and Sudel Diaz leads the Prisons outfit. But the match referee is here with us, Mr. Afras Mohammed. I think he has the coin, and he will conduct the toss. Tails it is. So, Prisons, you've won the toss. What are you going to do?
We just decided to have first strike.
So, you going to bat first?
Yeah.
Why?
We just say that we could set a target and try for the bowlers to defend it.
Most people, when they win the toss, especially factoring dew, I know it's rained a lot, so that too might add to the a little bit of slickness. Most people tend to want to bowl first, and then maybe when it gets heavier later on, bat and try to chase then. But you taking a different route tonight.
Yeah, we did that because mostly we rely on our bowling. So let's give the batsman a chance to go out and set a total for the bowlers.
How you feel about the team's chances now? You think your guys are trending in the right direction?
Yeah, we a little later than never, but we're still trying.
Okay, well, all the best later.
Yeah, man.
Thanks so much. So there you have it. There, and here's the youngsters. How you feeling about this contest coming up against the Prisons team?
I feel really good, you know. We could see it's a close battle, and we're really looking forward to it.
Okay. How has this experience been for you?
It's been a really good experience playing against more experienced and guys play in this Premier One tournament for a while. It's really good for us, a good learning experience as well.
Okay. If you had won the toss, would you have batted first as well?
We wanted to bowl first.
So you got your wish.
Yeah. Restrict them for as low as possible, knowing what we are chasing as well.
Okay, well, congratulations and all the best in this encounter.
Thank you.
Go well. So that's the situation here. Game two is just moments away. And of course, the under 19s, they're going to be in the field first. That's because Prisons won the toss and they have opted to bat. Yes, indeed. The Prisons outfit going against the grain just a little bit. As the normally teams that would win the toss would up to.
You mean? Oh, I keep forgetting the person who do
Goal first so that they don't have
Tell me how much gain you have on right now.
But in the
Huh? Bring it on to about 600 now. Compensate with the shutters behind.
But on this occasion, they have opted to bat first after winning the toss. They open with the skipper Sudel Diaz, and of course Zachary Raguna.
I feel like Daifa was crossing the lines up and down.
And immediately they are off the mark, and they might get a second run if they hurry, and they will get it too. And a little bit of indecision there, hold up.
A tiny more on the shutter. Put it on 12 then.
Hold up balls of beauty, and you can just see Raghunath just inching forward there, and ball just going away from him. And again, another comfortable single. So it's important that they get a good score. It's also important that they don't underestimate the youngsters. And I've played in games like these where the older guys tend to take it easy on the youngsters. If they only knew how badly we were plotting for them, then by the time they realized what was happening, it was too late. So when you play against age group teams, you always have to take them seriously because they are gunning for you. And that's gone. It's high in the air. There's a man settling on it. Can he take the catch? He does. Well. There goes Sinel Diaz for one. It went high in the air. It took a long time to come down. He had plenty of opportunities to change his mind. Rushes here. But in the end, he kept his nerve and held on to what turned out to be a very important catch indeed, as they get the prize wicket of the
Kelly, you were
captain,
supposed to open the ball in
Smith
last game.
Diaz. And he goes for just one.
Yeah.
And that means that Karen Kanai is going to replace him at the crease. But what a really good catch there by the youngster. Levi Gani, the man taking the catch out there. So it's 2 for 1. Right now, Prisons. And Karen Kanai is at the crease, so he would try to keep the scoreboard ticking over. That's a wide. We're trying to shock him with a lift up. First up. Pitch closer to him than it did to the batsman. Prisons now 4 for 1. They lost the all-important wicket of their captain, Sidar Diaz, who's a dangerous customer at the top of the order. And again, good anticipation there. The bowler is followed through. Is quickly onto Daniel Holder. And they can get a run. That's excellent cricket, great anticipation as well. And I look at young Holder, and he does have a fairly long run. And when you look at him running in, he looks like he could deliver the ball a good meter or two before he actually gets to the crease, like about here. But he's still coming, and so. But I guess it's where he's most comfortable. But when you're running that extra distance, it does take a lot out of you. They're going for one. They might get a second. They could get a second if they hurry, but they just seem a little bit hesitant to go back for that second run. So that will end the over. The first one is in the books. It's 5 for 1. So Prisons, after they won the toss and opted to bat first. So it's going to be Dan Raj who is going to pick up the attack. I think I was just reading an article from a comment from Gary Ganga, who says he's watching the tournament on 360 TV in India, where he's located for the IPL, and he was commenting on this young man and how much of an investment should be made in him. He's calling on the powers that be to not forget about him, but to invest in him. He's still only a young man, because if I'm not mistaken, I think we did the under 17 final and we played in that. And, I'm not even sure how old he is. He might be 15 when you think about it. So he probably really only now starting his career. Still a very young man. And you can see he still has some growing to do. And very alert at that point position. That one goes right through there. That should have been stopped, but it isn't. That's 4 runs, so maybe just a little bit. Maybe the bunks did him in there. Once it breaks through, that's it. It's very difficult to catch up with balls on this ground, especially on this side of the ground, which is the small side. A bit of flight there from Banraj. And again, not afraid to give it some air. So not a bad over, other than that one delivery that was driven for 4. He's more than had his own there. So 10 for 1 now after 2. Pollard drive there, but Pollard is in the way, the son of Karen Pollard. So they're in the middle, we're in the big number 10, Keegan. Kaiden Pollard. But his dad is miles away, so his dad is probably tuning in India to see him. And that's a short ball. That's put away nicely. And it's a long chase, but he will get there. They're just giving Kanai enough wiggle room. And he didn't miss
I
out.
see a message from somebody regarding sending up T20 rugby now.
So the man at square leg was slightly behind. The ball has gone in the gap between the two stands. And I'm not sure if there's any lighting in the back there, so. Took a while to get it back, but I think they'll be able to retrieve the ball. And they'll be able to continue. Daniel Holder, too short on that occasion. And this is where, as a youngster, you kind of grow up really fast because you're playing against batsmen who are quite capable and are confident in their own skill set. So you have to be able to make adjustments and the things you might get away with when you bowl against some of the youth stars, you may not get away with against the most senior players. They're in tune with what you're doing. Otherwise, they've seen it before, so they know how to counter it. You leave us up there. You leave in your own skills and try what you know. That's a good shot, dropped. Well, and it was a good opportunity to try and take the catch. That's Pollard spreading out his right there. And he had it into his hands, but he just couldn't hold on to it. In fact, I think he got it into one hand, and that was probably the problem for him there. He got it into his right hand, and by the time he tried to get his left hand around it, the ball probably squirted out. So a chance there for Kanai. Well, went full length to his right, showing off his goalkeeping skills, no doubt. Young man out of Fatima College. Again, and every time I look at him bowl, I can see it. His run up is so long that sometimes by the time he gets to the wicket, it's almost like he's, I don't want to say he's out of momentum, but he's just not as strong as he should be when he's about to deliver the ball. And I really think it starts with the run up, the length of the run up. If he cuts it down, it'll probably be a little more energetic. And this one is going to fly down the third man. Yeah, when he gets to the crease, you want to be really firing so that you explode into that delivery stride. It just seems as if he kind of relaxes as he gets there. When in truth, in fact, that's where he needs to be at his most aggressive. So he gets through his action pretty quickly. So now they look at the line just onto the cards there. So let's be careful. You don't want to give these batsmen a read on where he wants to put it, wants to put the ball. They will work it out sooner or later. At the end of his second over, the third of the innings, 17 for 1 now at the end of it. The man out, of course, Sidney Diaz, the captain of the British team. Well, congrats again to the Chris Sports Cup, the final for the U-19. Thriller came down to the final over. The young Dan Ranch continuing. Versus that forward right down the leg break. Oopies. That's a peach of a delivery. How that didn't take the stumps. I think everybody's wondering there. That just jumped over the middle stump. And the batsman has given himself some room there, Raghunath. And that ball just jumped over the stumps. Look at the reaction of Danraj. He couldn't believe it. So far, so good. He's just mixing up his deliveries quite nicely. No, he hasn't gotten any to grip us yet, to pitch and turn. So right now, he's just kind of, it's like he's bowling arm balls almost exclusively. That's a good shot. That's over the man at mid-off. And that's 4 runs. For the moment he got to the pitch of it, he knew exactly what he was going to do. Is just get under it and help himself. Again, not much spin, so he's not fearful that it's going to turn away from him. So he has a license to come down the wicket. But if Danraj could only get one to turn, that would put some doubt in his mind. That's 4 more. That's another brilliant shot. That's going to run down the hill. Pitching up again, Danraj, but too wide this time. And no problems at all. Bisecting the man at middle from the extra cover. Paul didn't have a chance at extra cover. And neither did Eric Richards at mid-off. He's still at mid-off. And trying to come closer to the middle stump this time. He's run leg stumps. But even there, he gets picked up for a single to end the over. 26-1 now after 4. So the youths just holding their own. They're not allowed prisoners to get away from them, although that last over was a fairly expensive one with a couple boundaries in there. So Aiden Owen is going to pick up the attack. And for him, there is a middle extra cover, and man boundary at deep backward point, and a third man. And ignores all of that and goes one on the legs, just outside the legs for a wide twist up. He has a short fine leg, and that should tell him that he wants to stay away from that leg stump. Then there's a deep square leg and a mid wicket as well as a mid one. Just cramping him up a little bit, and they're able to come back for a second run quite comfortably in the end. So what a great opportunity this is for these youngsters to play in a tournament like this. This is invaluable experience for them. Some of them, this could be a bit of an eye-opener for them. They on a sort of representative team. So another great opportunity to really showcase their talent, not allow themselves to be overawed by the situation, but to grow and to just to build their own confidence in their bowling, in their batting, in their fielding, in their tactics, in terms of how they're reading the game, how they assess situations, and they have nothing to lose. As we say, they're playing with house money here, and they could only improve and benefit from an experience like this. So it's just to relax and just show what you're capable of. And that's a good stop because that took the under edge. It could easily have gone into the stump, but it missed the stump. But the keeper did a fantastic job there, Ramanan Cristiano, behind the stumps. Just he was going to his left, and then he had to quickly check and go back to his right to make that stop. And not only did he make the stop, he stopped it with both hands. And again, going across him. Now you could see what Owen is trying to do. He's trying to go across the left-hander while Kanai is looking to swing for that short side. But he's not giving him too much. Look at how much effort he almost went off balance after making that shot. And again, Raghunath just finding himself in a little bit of a knot here. His timing is a little bit off at the moment. But again, he's a big, strong man. Hits the ball a mile. And but right now, he's just a little bit put off by the movement from Owen. And if you look at Owen, his run-up, he's chipping as he's coming in. Short steps in again, you could see. So he too has to do a little bit of work on that run-up because it's probably not as fluent, and as a result, he's probably thinking about other things than what he really should be thinking about in terms of where he wants to put the ball and what the batsman is likely to do. The end of the over 5 completed. It's 32 for 1. And if you look at him here, he's just chipping there. He's looking as if he wants to abort the run-up. And so those are just things that he could work on a little bit over time, I would imagine. And as he gets stronger, his stamina will be a little bit better as well. And so those are fixable things, if you know what I mean. Danraj. Again, pitching right up. Still a very, very young man. So he has a very bright future ahead of him. This is in the air. He could be out court, coming back, trying to get to it, and he takes it. That's a brilliant catch indeed there from Budu. Brendan Budu takes a brilliant catch. The captain leading from the front there and takes a nice catch, and that is the end of Raghunath. He goes for 9. His whole timing was off in this innings. And you just saw it there. He just didn't seem like he was in his normal fluent mood. And but what a catch that is. He was backpedaling. He kept his eyes on it, and took a nice catch over his head, falling down. Brilliant indeed from the youngsters. 32 for 2 now. So they're not allowing prisons to just get away and dictate to them. And Michael Fredericks is the man making his way to the middle. So 2 dot balls, well, really say 3 dot balls because there's 2 dot balls and a wicket ball that was also a dot ball. So pretty good start to this over for Dan Raj. And that's when almost goes right through the gate. First ball, Fredericks probably had his heart in his hand there. That one almost crept in between bat and pad. And just almost played it on as well. So this is a fine over so far from the young man. And there's a little bit of turn on that occasion. And that's good to see because earlier he wasn't really spinning it. And he was just bowling almost like the arm ball exclusively. Now he's getting the ball to turn a little bit. So when he produces the arm ball, that could really create some problems for the batsman. 33 for 2 now. He has 1 ball left in this over, his third. And again, he's pitching right up to the batsman and causing problems. The youngster, the under-19's doing very well. 33 for 2 now after 6. So Prisons, I'm sure, would have been hoping that they would come here, or probably would have been thinking that they would come here and really just blow these youngsters away, starting in the power play. But right now, 32 for 2 after 6 is well short of, I'm sure, well short of their expectations. When you consider earlier, Central Sports put on 52 for 2 after their 6 overs. And by comparison, also getting 52 for 2 would have been Presal. So Prisons a good 20 runs short of those targets, of those totals. And Owen again on target. And it's been interesting when he works out his run up, he's probably going to be a yard or 2 quicker. And it's probably going to be a little more difficult to negotiate because if he continues to move the ball and then he moves it at a little bit quicker than he is now and he's bowling them a little bit quicker, that will make life difficult for batsmen. Just giving the batsman, the bowler, the charge there. They're trying everything to sort of unsettle these U-19 bowlers. Yes. Trying to ruffle some feathers, maybe. But that's good cricket. If you're not going to hit a boundary or attempt an aggressive shot, then try and get a single and rotate strike, keep the scoreboard ticking over. And that was a prime example of that there. Just block it. Don't hit it with hard hands. Just take the pace off of it. And here's a lovely shot again, just eluding the man at cover, and it just speeds away to the boundary. So close, but not close enough. Again, you could see taking a few risks because they know that they have to get a move on here. This has not gone according to plan for Prisons. They've lost those 2 wickets, and that has really sort of hemmed them back a little bit. 2 of their main scorers are now back in the hatch. Played away nicely, but not interested in a second run, so they'll just settle for 1. Well bowled again. And he shouldn't be discouraged because his line is pretty good. He did bowl a couple wide deliveries down the leg side, but outside of that, he's been off stump, just outside the off stump predominantly. The end of the over, 42 for 2 now at the end of 7. Tonight is another big night in the NBA because the San Antonio Spurs, if they could get a win tonight, Victor Wembanyama, if he and his crew could come up with a victory, that could be the end of that. And similarly, the Cleveland Cavaliers will be trying to close out their opponents. The Pistons, Detroit, trying to rekindle the bad boy days. Dan Raj again pitching right up and going under the bat, but not hitting the stump. That's the second time he's almost yoked one of these batsmen. And a little bit of movement in the air. And they're going to come back for a second run quite comfortably in the end. So that's good running. That's the big side of the field. So once it goes close to the boundary, you must be confident that you could at least complete a run on the throw. And that's bowled them right through the gate. And again, we saw it earlier, and here it is again, because Fredericks was trying to get there, and he couldn't, and he was bowled for 3. So another fine wicket there for the youngster. And you could see it coming because we were talking all the time about that arm ball, the ball that is coming back at him. If you could get the ball to spin, that will put doubts in the batsman's mind. They're not going to come down the wicket as, carefree as they would if they knew that he couldn't turn it away from them. And then when they least expected, he could get the ball to come back with the arm. And that's exactly what happened to Fredericks there. It went right through the gate and disturbed the hardware. So well done to young Dan Raj. He picked up another wicket now. He has 2 for 17. It's 44 for 3. And the new batsman is Calvin Williams. wearing the Michael Jordan number. The famous 23 from the Chicago Bulls superstar. It's going to be interesting to see how the middle order reacts to this predicament in which they find themselves now at 44 for 3. And they're in the 8th over at the moment. So they still have a lot of overs, so things could change quickly. And that was dangerous indeed, because he just put the right foot in front of the stumps and had to bring the bat across the pad. Had he missed, that would have been clean as. I don't think the umpire would have hesitated. And this time just drifting in his line. And picked off quite comfortably in the end. So 2 runs to the total, pushes it now to 46. Again, you could see him thinking about going across the line, but then at the last moment elected not to. So he just played it in front of him. 46 for 3 now after 8. For those Premiership fans, of course, Aston Villa were 4-2 winners over Liverpool earlier today. So that's a big win for Aston Villa. They would be in 4th place now in the Premiership and securing a place in the Champions League for next season. Liverpool slipped to 5th, but they too might be safe. It's not a bad effort, but a comfortable single in the end. And this is Pollard coming into the attack. Kaiden Pollard wearing the number 10. And again, when you see youngsters choosing numbers that they want to wear, obviously it carries some significance to them. And it's almost always tied to somebody that they look up to, somebody that they admire in the sporting world. And when you see him wearing 10, you wonder if it's Messi, if it's Maradona, or if it's Pele. Too short, and they should come back for a second run quite comfortably in the end. And now something came out. I think he ran out of his shoe. Well, you don't see that too often. Because I was wondering what it is that fell. But it looked like he ran out of his shoe. And, if you look at him running back there, he was just, because everybody is looking around to see what is that on the ground, but it actually was his shoe. I could see him signaling to the dressing room to normally he'll ask for a pair of gloves or a bat or a helmet. He's asking for a side of shoe. And it's not like he was running really hard to say he ran out of his shoe, but maybe it's just that the sole unstuck and he has to replace it. So if you didn't think you ever saw that on the cricket field, well, you're seeing it now. Williams calling for a change of footwear. Not sure if he's wearing spikes. But this gives the youngsters a good opportunity to huddle up and just kind of discuss how things are going. But they're also having a long conversation there with Karan Kanhai, who's keeping them occupied and entertained, it looks like. But all's well. It looks like he's A-OK and is ready to resume. So Williams Bakana is going along quite nicely at the other end. He's on 26. Kevin Williams is on 4. Kaiden Pollard is continuing. He's in his first over. Just 3 balls bowled so far. 3 runs conceded. Prison's 49 for 3. We're in over number 9. So they've had their difficulties getting boundaries. And yeah, he's flirting with danger there, just dabbing at a delivery outside the off top. And again, he goes trying to swing to leg and missing completely. He rehearses more of a flat batted shot where you could present a wider blade, probably. This time he is making contact, but not the kind of contact that he wanted. So the end of a pretty good first over from Kaiden Pollard. And at the end of it, just 3 runs conceded. It's 49 for 3. So Amrit Pittiman so he's coming into the deck. He replaces, was it Dan Raj who bowled at this top end? So this one is hit in the air. It's just going to land safely. And they're going to come back for a second run. He didn't make the kind of positive contact. Had he done so, who knows? He might have actually holed out in to the man at long off. And Pittyman, there's a left-arm Chinaman googly bowler, pretty much in the mold of Ancient Ali or Jaichan Kanhai. But they really spun the ball, and when you face them, you hear the ball singing while it's coming at you because they put so much revs on it. And again, Williams is having his issues here with his timing. He's swinging hard, but he's swinging at the wind right now. It's almost as if he's brushing mosquitoes. And again, he's still not able to really find the middle of the bat. And he might have just gotten an underedge on that one. So he will go to 5. And they're not overly worried. They're not running aggressively. And they'll settle for the ones if that's what they feel they can get. They've gone past 50 now, 50, 54 for 3. And again, he just misses on this occasion, Pittyman. That ends the So 54 for 3 as we welcome you back here to the Queen's Park Oval. The players have had their little break, their little refreshment break, and now it's back to work for them. And it's going to be Kaiden Pollard who's going to continue. And here is a swing, but he misses, struck him on the pad. The appeal went up, but the umpire was not interested. There is a deep backward square. There's also a man forward of square on the boundary. So he has to be mindful of that, playing that shot. There's no deep mid-wicket. There's a long on and a long off, as well as a man on the point on the deep cover boundary. Sweeping. Now Pollard wants the only player in front of the bat on the onside to come to a short fine leg, fairly wide. And that's exactly where he came from at that straightish mid-wicket. But again, that's what an experienced batsman would do. As soon as you move your player out of one location, that's exactly where they put the ball. They go for a quick single. He's going to have to hurry. The return, though, is not a particularly good one. And they eventually get the overthrow. So 2 runs in the end. Look at how far that return was. It took Pollard well away from the stumps. And again, I don't think that's where he intended that ball to go. It squirted off square the wicket on the offside, but he was shaping really to swing that up in the Jeffrey Stonemeyer stands or the former the ladies member stands over long on. And again, it's just not happening for Williams. He just, for whatever reason, he just can't seem to catch up with the ball. I don't know if it's his shot selection. Might be the change of shoes. I don't know, we have to blame it on something. And again, can't get it away. So the end of the over, another good one. 57 for 3 now after 11. And of course, the teams for the upcoming CPL have been doing their draft, and a lot of them have thrown up some surprises. That's a good hit, but just couldn't come across in time to cut it off, so he picks up a boundary there. So Kanai continues to push on. Of course, the international players will be added later on, so this is purely the regional players. That's another big hit, and that's gone as well. He's a big, strong man, and that's the short side, so you always have to be mindful of that. And that was right in his wagon wheel there. All he had to do was swing and make good connection, and he was in the money. So the Barbados Tridents have selected Gudakesh Muti, who leaves the Guyana Amazon Warriors after 5 years. The Tridents also redrafted fellow Guyanese Shifin Rutherford. Here he goes again, another one over the top, and another easy 2 runs. Barbados used their right to match options to re-sign Brandon King from Jamaica, Kadeem Alain, Rivaldo Clark, Johan Lane, Kofi James, who we saw here earlier. And that's a good delivery, beaten all outside that off stump. And Zishan Motara also returns to the Tridents for 2026. And more good fielding. So you could really see Kanai trying to get after Pittiman here. And it slices it just over the head of the inner ring. And just stops it from going over the boundary. But they'll be happy with 2. As the over comes to an end, and at the end of it, it's 71 for 3 now after 12. So as I was saying about the Barbados Tridents, their squad of local and regional players looks like this: Gudakish Muti, Shifrin Rutherford, Brandon King, Zachary Carter, Kadeem Alain, Ramon Simmons, Shadrach Descott, Rivaldo Clark, Zishan Motara, Jakeem Pollard, Johan Lean, and Kofi James, the international players to join up after. Of course, the Trinbago Knight Riders have used their RMOs to re-sign Sunil Narain, Nicholas Puran, Kyron Pollard, Akil Hossain, and Terrence Hines. That hugely experienced core will be vital as the Knight Riders look to defend the title they secured in 2025. There are also some new faces in the squad. I will tell you about that after that delivery. Justin Graves and Dominic Drakes are joining the Knight Riders. Jid Gooley will represent the home team for the first time, having played for St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots last year. He will be joined by newcomers Dexter Sween and Abdul Rahim Toppin. Again, they get a single this time, but it's well played and a good run. So the Trinbago Knight Riders will look like this: Narain, Puran, Pollard, Hossain, Graves, Drakes, Gooley, Sween, Hines, Nathan Edwards, Joshua De Silva, and Abdul Rahim Toppin. And swinging away again into the space. The 2 players converging there and almost getting in each other's way. So Kanai continues to push on. He's on 47. And leg by is the signal. So he stays on 47. Score is up to 74 for 3 now. The St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots, they've drafted Johnson Charles, the CPL's all-time leading run scorer. He is joined by Andre Fletcher, who sits second on the CPL run-scoring charts. Patriots use an RMO to re-sign Fletcher, while also the right to match Kyle Mayers. And this one is gone. Well over the head of the man. He's been trying that shot time and again. Finally, he was able to pick up with one and got some maximum for it. So apart from Mayers, they also used their right to match on Alec Atanaz and Michael Louis. They've drafted Jason Holder back into the squad and secured the services of Kevin Wickham and Obed McCoy, who both joined the team for the first time this year. Once a single that is not there. So that ends the over. Another one from Pollard, 81 for 3 at the end of 13. 10 runs from that over. And just to give you the Patriots listing: Johnson Charles, Jason Holder, Kyle Mayers, Andre Fletcher, Kevin Wickham, Obed McCoy, Ashmead Ned, Jeremiah Louis, Alec Atanaz, Micah McKenzie, Navin Bidesi, and Michael Louis. So a pretty talented squad. And there he goes again. And eventually he will only get a single because there's a man stationed out there in the deep. And the Guyana Amazon Warriors They have retained Shimron Hepmeyer, Romario Shepard, Shea Hope, and Shamar Joseph. It's another attempt that spoons off the outside edge. Well, of course, they lost Gudukishmuti to the Tridents. They have replaced him with fellow left-arm spinner Kari Pierre, who was part of the Kings squad in 2025. That's a great shot, and it actually went through the legs of Williams, who really was in danger there of having his hardware disturbed, but he did well to jump out of harm's way. That could have been dangerous. That could have been detrimental on so many fronts. And the remainder of the Amazon Warrior squad, it made up of Guyanese players, Ronaldo Ali Mohammed, Versami Permol, Mavendra Dindial, Jonathan Van Lang, all are making the squad. Here's this again a chance, and it drops in front of Pollard, almost as if he didn't really see it. Again, it's spooned up in the air, and really, it was in the air long enough. He probably could have gotten under it for whatever reason. He just reacted to it slowly. Probably was trying to find it in the lights. So another peach of a delivery from Pittiman. And again, so it's been a recurring theme here with Williams trying his best to get on with things, but having real difficulty on occasions. 88 for 3 now after 14. And of course, the Jamaica Kingsmen have drafted 2 experienced local players with outstanding T20 records in Rob Powell and Andre Russell. They've also selected fellow Jamaican Odin Smith, Vittel Laws, Javor Royal, and Kirk McKenzie. They have additionally picked Kimo Paul, Casey Carty, and Shakiri Paris, all of whom have previous CPL experience. So their squad looks like this: Powell, Russell, Kimo Paul, Casey Carty, Jada Blades, Shakiri Paris, Odin Smith, Vittel Laws, Romaine Morris, Kirk McKenzie, Kelvin Pittman, and Javor Royal. This one is hit in the air again, but there is cover. So he will have to settle for a single. So these youngsters are making the Prisons work hard for everything. 89 for 3. Williams again trying to swing hard, but he's really not timing the ball very well. I think he's had one really good shot. That was a 6 over long on off Pollard in the previous over. But outside of that, it has been a real jerky kind of innings. And that's going to be wide signal by the umpire. Can they cut it off before it hits the boundary? No. So not what you want at this stage. You don't want to gift them runs. It's already difficult for them to score runs. And they get 5 runs from that hole, from just that one ball. And he's going to have to bowl it over as well. So 95 for 3 now. And again, swung away down behind square. So Kanai with 50 to his name, he's up to 55 now. And that's a good shot. That's going to take some catch in there. In fact, he won't. And that was hit with real power there. Again, Williams, despite all his struggle, uncorks a real beauty. It's almost like he was trying to pay back Kanai. Kanai drilled one back at him and he had to jump out the way. Here, he almost took Kanai's head with him as well. So it's tit for tat between those two. This one is hit down to long off. And they will settle for the single. So Prison's just trying now, but they're getting to what we call the happy hour now, where they just have 5 overs after this one. So we anticipate that they'll be going full blue after this. And again, they're not running hard. They probably just decide we'll just take the single and rotate the strike as the over comes to an end. 15 in the books. It's 102 now for 3. And of course, as we are talking about the team St. Lucia, they have drafted in Trinidad and Tobago's top order batsman Camille Puran, along with Damian Joachim, Joshua Bishop, and Darren Ned. Of course, they've retained Ruston Chase, Matthew Ford, and Keon Gaston. Joel Andrew is also in the fold, as well as McKinney Clark. This one, he's edging it, just dropping short, and he couldn't get. He probably needed to stay low and just almost diving forward, but he was trying to run forward to catch up, to get under it, but he couldn't. And that's a big hit, but this one might just be caught right there on the boundary, and he does. That's a great catch. Indeed, he was swinging there, and in fact, Kanai's lovely innings comes to an end. He goes for 56. Caught on the ropes, literally, you'd have to say. But even he too has kind of lost his power lately. He hasn't really been timing the ball all that well. And that's an example of it there. So Pittyman picks up a pepper there. 102 for 4 now. So Vikash Rampasad is the new batsman. So Zakaria Mohammed, the man taking the catch on the boundary there, and we're looking at Rampasad. Vikash Rampasad making his way out into the middle. Amrit Pittyman, 1 for 26 now. He's in his 4th over. And that ought to do his confidence a world of good. He's gotten the danger man. And when you consider Diaz went for 1, Raghunath went for 9, and Fredericks went for 3. 56 to Kanai, and no Williams, of course, is still there on 21. And that's a lovely shot. He's placed it well, but they've decided against going back for a second run. Score inches on now to 103 for 4. This is the time when they really need Williams to get cracking here. But he's had his problems with Pitman. And there's again, he could be out caught here, but the ball is just drifting away. They really fell in no man's land. There were two players converging out there, but neither one could catch up with it. Again, Williams living a charmed life. But there's no holding back now. He has to go for it. They're running out of overs. And again, and once again, it spoons up the edge. I suppose you would say the price of these bats these days, might as well use the edge because he's had his problems finding the middle, especially against Pitman. Other than two shots, that vicious back drive he had from Pollard, and then the 6. Outside of those two, he's really struggled to middle the ball, and he's played and missed quite a bit. So the end of another pretty good over from Pitman, 1 for 31 from his 4. So at the end of 16, it's 107 for 4. So again, 1 for 31 for Pitman from his 4 overs. Dan Raj, 2 for 19 from his 4. So Daniel Holder is coming back into the attack now. And he has to be spot on here. You don't want to give too many loose, don't give them too many loose balls. Too many boundary balls, as we like to say. If he's just going to go on the short side, it has to be towards the eastern side. That's the bigger side of the ground. So if you're going to encourage them to hook, then that's the side. You don't want to do this do it on the other side. So he's bowling from the right end, from the southern end, or the Brian Lara Pavilion end. Let them hit. There's no breeze really, but that's the general idea, is to let them try and hit to the big side of the ground. That's a peach of a delivery. How did that miss? It didn't miss by much. It curled back at them, and it's almost like it was an afterthought. When he saw it coming back, he just kind of dropped the bat. By that time, the ball had long gone there and just missed the stump. So now he's going to try his luck from around the wicket. Still can't get it through. And I'm not sure. But I'm hoping that the coaches really look at what he's doing. He's kind of missing his run at times, but he's still delivering the ball. And I still feel they have to do something with his run up. That's another good delivery. Just so that he remains consistent and he doesn't hurt himself in the process, because he just seems just a little off. And it might just be the occasion, but that's a good shot. but it may only net him the 1 run. So 108 for 4 in the 17th over. Prisoners, I'm sure, would have been thinking something in the region of 200 against the under-19s. But that has not been the case from the first over that they've signaled their intention. And they've done very well, these young men. And Williams, he has really struggled at the crease. Although he has 24 runs to his name, 10 of those have come off probably the 2 best shots he's played. Outside of that, it's been some quick singles and a couple of streaky shots of boundaries. And again, he's just swinging and missing. We thought it was the spinners, but even to the seamers, he's having his difficulties catching up with some of those deliveries. The end of a pretty decent over from Holder, and at the end of it, Prisons, after they won the toss and upped it to bat, are 108 rather, for 4 after 17. And that's just 1 run scored in that over. So pretty good over from Holder coming back. So he has 1 for 12 now. And it's going to be Aidan Owen who is going to continue. He's picking it up from the top end. He bowled from the bottom end earlier. Trying to get his teammates to adjust. That's a good shot. That's into the gap. That's going to take some stopping. That's brilliant. And they're going to have to settle for the 2 runs. And they might get the 3rd run here. The return, not the best. In fact, it was over the bowler's head. And the man backing up really needed to be closer in long before the return ever came. And it's for precisely that reason. If it just overshoots the bowler or for whatever reason it eludes him, then you have to be close enough to back him up and to prevent any additional run. But again, it's a steep learning curve for some of these youngsters, so hopefully they'll take it in. And Williams again not able to do it. They go for 1, but they decide against it this time. They're going back for a 2nd, that is. And Aidan Owen, his run-up has really deserted him now. He's really having a bit of a hard time with his run-up from this end. So maybe he's just leaning forward a little too much and is arriving at the crease much sooner than he anticipates. And look at how he's chipping, cutting his run when he gets there. And certainly it's not as fluent as he would like it. And as a result, he's not lining up the deliveries as well as he would like. And that's because he's thinking about where his feet are landing. And, he's not as fluent coming up to the crease. He's cutting his run. He's chopping his run as he gets up to the wicket. And that's well played. That's well stopped there, Pollard. Just take all the sting out of it. They still got a single, but he did very well. And you look at it here. Look at how he's just ambling up there. So he's not really using the momentum from his run-up. He's just wheeling his arm over there. And so he's not getting anything from the run-up. bowled him right through the gate. That's a beautiful delivery. Pitch right up, and he went right across it. On that occasion, Vikas Ramprasad, he goes bowled for 7. And the youngsters continue to make life difficult for the prison service batsmen. Bowled all over the shop, as they say. It's 114 for 5 now. So this, with a projected score of 128, I don't think prisons would be happy with that at all. And I'm sure they would have been hoping for somewhere upwards of 175, maybe closer to 200. But right now, they still have a couple deliveries to play with. So hopefully they'll be able to take care of that. Brandon Suklal is arriving at the crease. And if Owens could produce another delivery like that, who knows? He might be in the money. Because as a new batsman, that's what you want. And you want to put pressure on him from the word go. So the very first ball, if you can reproduce the Yorker, he might be in the money again. Right up in the block hole. He almost got through there. That's brilliant bowling from the young man to end the over. And at the end of that over, it's 18 completed now. It's 114 for 5. So Williams is still out there. He's been there for a while. Faced 31 balls for his 26. So he really has to get a move on here now. He has 12 deliveries, 12 legal deliveries to change things for prisons. And again, he's not able to place the ball very well. And even when he makes good contact, it's just a single. So it's not, hasn't really flowed for him and for prisons. Other than that aggressive knock from Kanhai, no one else has really come to the party just yet. Williams is still there. He's on 26. But he has ruined his luck. He's been riding his luck, and so far so good. He's still there on 26. And this one is in the air, and it's a long chase, and he takes the catch, falling down. Really a brilliant catch indeed, way out there, and certainly a very, very good effort. And so Suklal goes without scoring. And just look at this catch. Up in the air, up in the night skies, problems. Budu takes a brilliant catch out there, and that's he will be very proud of that, the captain. And Holder picks up another. So prisons really finding life very difficult to accelerate the scoring. And Cummings has arrived at Gervais Cummings has arrived at the crease. So they've really not been able to put the kind of pressure on the youngsters that they would have been hoping for. But as we always say, this is, these are runs on the board. It's up to the youngsters now to make those runs. But these are runs on the board. These are invaluable at this point in time. And they'll be hoping now that their bowlers can defend it. And that one is turned away nicely in the air, but it's bubbled and he catches it. He holds on to it at the second attempt. Pitterman, for a moment there, it looked like he dropped it. And that is the end of Cummings. He too walks away dejectedly for a first ball duck. It's now 115 for 7. And a little bit of juggling there. He had it, then he lost it, but then he was able to grab it back. It hit him in the chest. And luckily for him, it didn't bounce too far away from him. And he was able to hold on for dear life. So Tyree Dumont, so the prison tail here not wagging at all. And they need some runs. They need at least to try and see if they could get somewhere close to 150. But that seems very unlikely here unless this man could at least get Williams on strike for the majority of deliveries left. Now that was a hat-trick ball that he was able to keep out. But again, the running is not aggressive at all. It's like they're just settling for the single. And but Williams is the man that they want to get on strike or to keep on strike for as long as possible. He's the one, is the second highest scorer in the innings so far. But they need him now to kick on here the rest of the way. That's a good delivery. They might go for a second run. They're going to have to hurry. If they get it to the other end, he's out, run out. He was really flying coming down the wicket there, Williams. He didn't see his partner had his back turned, Dumont, and he never left the crease. Williams almost overcommitted. And the ball went fine enough. They really should have been thinking 2 here. But once again, the running Zachariah Mohammed able to pick it up. And this one is played away nicely. That might go for 4. In fact, it does go for 4. That's a nice pickup. And flicked away by Dumont. So 121 for 7 now after 19. So this is the final over of this innings. Prisoners, they won the toss and opted to bat first, and then they lost Sidel Diaz for 1, the captain. Zachary Ragunat for 9. Karen Kanai for a well-played 56. Mikhail Fredericks for 3. Vikash Rampasad for 7. Brandon Suklal for no score, and Gervais Cummings also without scoring. Calvin Williams is there on 28, and Dumont is there with him on 5. And once again, Owen is really chopping his strides here. He's not fluent at all, and still manages to get his arm over and deliver the ball. But you would think he could do so much better if he just sorts out his run-up. Well, we said that for many years about Shannon Gabriel, and even in his latter stages, he struggled. This one just trying to get cute with a little deflection behind the keeper, probably. So Aidan Owen, 1 for 22 in his 4th and final over. Again, keeping the ball right up. They may go back for a second, and would have been tough now. Did he or didn't he? And the umpire says not out. But that would have been that would have been curtains there for Williams. He would not have been a happy camper. Now he started to run for that second run. He was sent back, and then he just kind of was dilly-dallying there and just got the bat down in time to be safe. That would have been sacrilegious had he been run out like that, because he was just standing there watching the action at the other end, not realizing that he was out of his crease, and the throw was to the striker's end. That's another peach of a delivery, but it does squirt away for 4. Right up in the block hole goes Owen. But Williams gets enough bat on it. Really, again, getting the toe of the bat on it, and it squirts down past the man at short third man. And they're able to pick out a boundary. So he goes into the 30s. He's up to 33 now. And again, they're going to have to settle for the 1 run. And with 1 ball left, Prisons 128 for 7. And Williams is on 34, but he's at the non-strikers end. And here's Dumont. And he's just going to get a single from it. So he will remain on 7. And Prisons 129 for 7. Again, Williams not out on 34, 7 to Dumont. And of course, the innings of Karen Kanhai stands out, 56-34 to Williams. And at the end of their 20 overs, Prisons, after they won the toss and batted, 129 for 7, with Danraj taking 2 for 19. And of course, also among the wickets would be Holder, who led the way with 3 scabs. So that's the situation here. It means that the under-19s, they will need 130 for a victory. Welcome back as we get ready for the Fial under 19 reply. As they're chasing 130 for a victory. They have 120 balls in which to get those runs. And Gervais Cummings will open the attack for them. Zachariah Mohammed and Levi Ghani. The two batters for the Youths.
But no cameras, they come down with them.
And Prisons again trying to make sure that they get everything in place.
Oh, yeah. It's too
So they have a short, fine leg. They have a square leg on the boundary. And a man at deep backward point. Cummings. Of course, this will be a great opportunity for them to really express themselves here now, the Prisons outfit. And just trying to hit it there. So he might have been struck on the helmet as he was trying to pull that one. And it probably bounced off his arm onto the helmet. Or actually, he swung too early and missed it completely. And it just kind of kissed him on the cheek there. So the required protocol will be observed. The trainer will ensure that everything is A-OK. How many fingers I have up there, son? So Zachariah, gonna give him all the time he needs, and you have to be so careful, especially with these youngsters. You don't want to rush them back if he's not 100%. Don't worry about it, about getting him to play. It's better to let him rest or let him sit out for a while rather than rush him back into the action. But I guess as these youngsters, they want to play, so they will do everything to play. And this one, now, was he out of his crease at the non-striker's end? That is the question there, but it seems as if his foot was planted behind. Because look at it here. Was he out of the crease? Then the ball hit. He just got that foot back in time. Or did he? Yeah, if you look at that again, it's to find the line. Because right now he's just behind the line. Good bonks, good carry from Cummings. Really has his tail up. Now look at it again. Now look at where he is. He's out of the crease here. The ball hits the hand of the bowler. Is he back in time? The stump is broken. He's actually out of his crease there. But the umpire was on the move, trying to get out of harm's way. And he didn't spot it, but he was clearly out of his ground. They go for a quick single. They'll get it too. So the youngster is off the mark. Zachariah Muhammad. That will bring Levi Ghani on strike. And again, it's such a wonderful experience for these youngsters. And they know they want to do well, but they don't need to overthink it. Just organize themselves, and that's brilliant running. As that they just take a page from their seniors, 2 without loss at the end of over number 1. So picking up the attack now would be Fredericks, Michael Fredericks. So this is where it really is, as they say, where the rubber meets the road. Is can the youths put together a good partnership here and really bat themselves into a winning position? They've done a good job with the ball, and I suppose the big concern is with the bat. Can they withstand the pressure from the Prisons outfit? And nicely done by Ghani. And again, a number of these youngsters would have been playing secondary schools cricket and doing very well. And some of them also would have had a stint at a higher level. So they're not overawed by the occasion. It's 9:30 in the night. It's probably past their bedtime, some of them. Especially with exams and stuff like that in the air. That started wide and quite rightly was called a wide. So I remember those days when you had to like juggle cricket with your studies and then whatever else your parents would pile on there for you to do. Yeah, that's a great shot. You got it over the inner ring, and once you clear those at the edge of the circle, there isn't much hope of cutting that off. And that's a great shot again from Zachariah Mohammed. And he was in position early, and you could see him just muscling it over the top. He jumped on that one. And again, good comeback delivery there, a little quicker and a little closer. Didn't give him time to set up. Nicely played again. They've gone for one. They may consider a second, and no, they decide against it. So 7 without loss now. We're in the second over. Actually, it's 9 for no loss. And again, just standing up just outside that off stump and making good contact to play it away. The end of the over 2 completed. It's 10 without loss. I tell you what, though, if these youngsters continue to bat and not lose early wickets, they will frustrate their senior counterparts. And the longer it stays that way, is the more frustrated it'll become. Because they obviously would like to get early wickets. So Vikash Rampasad will come into the attack. And of course, prompting the wicketkeeper Shondell Emmons to call for the helmet, because he'll be standing up. It's a great delivery to start with there. You can see Ghani just having to come down on it quickly. Did well in the end. But that's a peach of a delivery to start with. While taking single in the end, the man at mid-off, the captain, Diaz, not prepared to try to run out the batsman. That was it. Hard back at Rampasad. He's looking at Mohammed as, what are you trying to do, son? Respect your elders. He's bowled him. And that's a peach of a delivery. Pitched it up, but he just turned it back into him. And he went for the big shot, but missed out. And was bowled neck and crop. Zakaria Mohammed. So it's now 11 for 1. So 11 for 1. So this is really the big question for these youngsters. Can they bat and get on top of the prison bowling? So Tariq Richards makes his way out, replacing Mohammed, who was bowled all over the shop there by a beauty of a delivery. That just came back at him. So they've lost an early wicket. And similarly, Prisons lost an early wicket. In fact, they lost 2 in the power play. And they lost the first one in the first over. So the left-handed Tariq Richards just taking his time to settle. Probably making the bowler wait a little bit as well. And here he is trying his best here to get after Rampasad. He hasn't taken a look. He just want to put back the ball. And he has this peculiar grip. His hands are a little bit apart. And he's rehearsing that big booming drive of his. And he can't get off the mark with that one. 11 for 1 at the end of over number 3. So it's going to be Fredericks who will continue from the northern end, the Jerry Gomez Media Center end. And Ghani just using his pace to run it down to third man. Really would be good to see how many of these youngsters can really stand up to the examination that these bowlers are going to throw at them. And this young man it looks like he's in a hurry. And he is again cramped there as that delivery from around the wicket is angled back into him. Yeah, they're going to go through for the single. That's very well judged in the end. He just dropped it and ran. Didn't go very far away from the wicket or from the crease. But it was so well placed that the bowler and the fielder who was converging from the cover region, neither one could get there before they completed the single. And he's again trying to pull this one around. It's not going to get to the boundary. And of all the people who chasing after it is the wicketkeeper. And they're able to come back for 2. Again, they're thinking of a second run, but because the ball is so close to the boundary, I would imagine eventually experience will show them how easy it is to complete 2 runs when it's that deep, when it's that far away from the wicket. But it means you're running on the bowler, on the thrower's arm. So the end of another over, and 4 overs completed. It's 16 for 1 now. So Prisons anxious to keep taking wickets. They have one already, but they don't want these youths to settle. These brash young men who are looking to carve out a place in the national psyche for themselves as cricketers. That's well played. They should get 2 here quite easily. So Sukla picking up the attack from the Brian Lara Pavilion end. And that is hit down the ground. That's going to run close to the boundary, if not into the boundary, now for 4. Kind of just too short, and batsman able to just wait on it and slap it past him. Again, good, sensible cricket. They know everybody's expecting another big hit. Again, just a little bit of turn there, as they say, a hint of turn. So once they plug that gap there, they're not giving them the ready-made single with the fielders out on the boundary and nobody inside the circle. They quite often get 2 runs. This one is going to run close to the boundary. It's not going to get there. Or does it? It does. He got his hands to it. He went down, but somehow the ball eluded his hand, almost like it had a mind of its own. And it says, "You're not cutting me off today." And just like that, the man was right there. He seemed to have it covered. And until he didn't. Really a bad miss there by Boodram. So they all want to get in on the action here. So 28 for 1. I'm sure the youngsters would want to get a bit of a move on if they can. So Tyree Dumont. So here comes Tyree Dumont. So a well-judged single, but you get the impression he could do more with those deliveries. It's almost like he premeditated that he was just going to push and run. Dumont again, just drifting into the pass. This one is turned away nicely, and it's a long chase, but they'll literally jog the second run. So 31 for 1 now. We're in the 6th over. And again, as soon as they play it, they're off and running. So it must be some kind of a plan or something they've been taught as a group by their coaches how to approach the longer version of the game and then how to approach the other formats. So this is what we're seeing here now. As they continue their understanding of spaces and how to challenge the fielders. And that one is turned away. That's going to go for 6 runs. I'm not sure if he intended it to go there, but boy, it came off the bat sweetly. And that's a very well-timed shot. He picked it up sweetly and deposited it over that deepish mid-wicket. Almost a wide long-on position. And again, looking a real picture here, looking as solid as they can be, just pushing it and not allowing the more senior players to dictate to him the end of the over. And Levi Gani is leading the charge. And it's 40 for 1. At the end of 6 overs. So at the power play mark, they're 40. And when you consider that Prisons, after their 6 overs, they were 33 for 2. So Vikash Rampasad is back into the attack. I'm sure they'll have a rethink if these two stick around for any extended period of time. So Rampasad is back out there, and of course the change of bowling is always expected at that end. So they look for some kind of consistency, some bowler who could tie up an end. And again, they place it into the gap and immediately set off for the single. So the bowlers have a real task here now to try to maintain their lines and the length. That's a peach of a delivery there, just beating everything, going through to the keeper. And once it gets past there, that's a man at short fine leg. Once it beats him, that's 4 runs. That's a good sweep shot. Kept it down well. So that ought to do his confidence a world of good. Not that he was lacking in any. So Tariq Richards just hoping to really attack the bowlers. You could see he has an aggressive mindset. And again, this time they put the fielder back on the boundary. And he was able to pick him out almost directly. Again, played away nicely. They think for a moment about a second run, but this time they elected not to go. You could see the prison team, they're not hustling at all. They're just taking their time, but they're probably a little bit frustrated because this pair, they've really done well. And 47 now for 1 after 7. After 7, prisoners were 44 for 2. So the youths are pretty much holding their own. They've not been intimidated by the senior players from the prison outfit. And now it's the captain, Diaz. So Cedel Diaz taking matters into his own hand. Remember, he made just 1. So I'm sure he'd like to enjoy this game in some format. That's well played again. Good backing up again by the skipper. These are runs that will go against his name, so I'm sure he's eager to cut that one off. That might have been a simple overthrow. Were it not for the brilliance of the captain, Sidel Diaz, to intervene and cut it off. That's another well-played shot, but even though it's close to the fielder, again, they judge it so well. So 49 for one. They're one away from the half-century mark. And they're going to get it too. So there's nothing the Prisoners team can do. These are very well judged singles. They're manipulating the field, just pushing the ball into the areas where there are no fielders, which is good, sensible cricket. And that's played in the air, but it's into the deep where they get a single. And he probably had to feel for it a little bit, didn't really get the full-blooded drive going. And luckily, too, because there are two men out there, he could easily have picked out one. And this one is right up in the block hole. Talk about being felled by a Yorker. And that's exactly what happened there. And just managing to keep it out in the end. So Ghani survives. And at the end of that over, it's 51 for 2 at the end of 8. Yeah, so it's 51 for 1, I should say, after 8. After 8, Prisons were 46 for 3. So they're just trying to accumulate runs wherever they can. Rampasad to continue from around the wicket, pulling his little off spin. He does get some turn. And that one is hit in the air again, but it's going to fall safely. And they thought for a moment of a second run. A little bit of indecision there. And sometimes, again, it's the running between the wickets that can make the world of difference. And especially in the youngsters, you want to see them doing the correct thing, turning with the bat in the correct hand, and facing where the ball is, so you know whether the second run is on or not. Again, nicely played. Not much the Prisoners outfit could do about it. They're all on their heels at the edge of the circle. And as a result, there are plenty of singles to be had. And when you can pick up singles regularly, and here he is trying to really go right across to this one. There is a man at deep mid-wicket, but he was aiming for closer to the man at deep backward square. And again, they go for the first one. They might consider a second. They're going back for the second run. They're going to get that with relative ease. Again, the man in the deep has a lot of work to do to come in and then pick up and release. Not quick enough. The youngsters are back for 255 now for the loss of 1 wicket. And here he is trying to swing it to leg. Big appeal, but not out, says the umpire. So it remains 55 for 1 now at the end of over number 9. So you don't want to see him like give it away by just playing a rash shot like that, but he is a good driver of the ball. So, but I know a lot of batsmen tend not to want to, whenever they're not sure, they bring out the sweep shot. It's like the eternal safety valve. So 55 for 1 now, 9 overs completed. Prisons were 49 for 3 at that same stage. Again, this is so good to see that these youngsters understand the concept of rotating strike and, you know, how important singles are in every format, not necessarily only in Test cricket, but more particularly in the T20 cricket. You have to be on the same page with your partner. So the running between the wickets isn't a cumbersome exercise. And again, that pull shot choking him. And that's flicked away nicely. And once it goes down there, there's only a short fine leg. And that's for a real gift outside his legs there. It says, thank you very much. And that pushes Richards now on to 25. 60 for 1. They're halfway there, almost. Still have some work to do, though. And unlucky there that he didn't get that one past his man. So remember, the target is 130. So they have some ways to go still, but they've only lost the 1 wicket. And you could see the confidence in these youngsters. Probably a little bit of cockiness as well. 50 from 43, the partnership between Richards and Ghani. A good partnership. And I'm sure the coaches are probably telling them, don't worry, after 10 overs, we will assess. And then we will unleash the chains. Who knows? And how often have we seen that? Just staying on top of the ball and guiding it down to third man for a comfortable single, and that completes over number 10. And after 10 overs, needing 130 for a victory, the U-19s are 62 for 1. We'll take a break as they get some refreshments. So welcome you back here. We into the second half of the innings. So the youngsters, they need 68 runs, and they have 60 deliveries to get those runs. So pretty much on course. If they can just hold their nerve and see it through to the end. And what will help is if they get a couple decent overs, 10 and over, 12 and over, something like that. That will make life so much easier for them. In the meantime, they just continue this parade of picking up these quick singles and doing precisely that, forcing the fielders to try to run them out, and in the process, cash in with extra runs. 64 now for 1, as Dumont is operating from the pavilion end. And more runs again. There's nobody down there, so that's a gift on his legs. You're asking for trouble, and trouble it is. So that pushes the score quickly on to 68 now for 1. And a lot of captains are reluctant to bowl with the traditional fine leg. And so they have all these exotic field placings. There's a man just to the right of the square leg umpire. But if you're bowling a fast bowler and he strays in line at all onto the pads, that's a gift down to, and there he rubbed himself of possibly 4 runs because he hit it so well, he hit it so straight. He actually knocked over the middle stump at the non-striker's end. And the ball, instead of deflecting left or right, it came right back down the track. And he couldn't get a run. But it was so well played. Must be kicking himself. That looked like it had the potential to go close to the boundary, if not over. And he'll take that as a wide and take the run also. So that was tack on another 2. So that will push them up to 70 for 1. So this is so far it's a decent over for them. 8 runs already in the over. And that's another wide delivery, so you'll have to do it all over again. And this is that run is on every time. So they are really showing the Prison's batsmen how to manipulate the field and how to keep the scoreboard ticking over. 71, 72 now for 1. And this time he hits it down the ground, but he won't get the boundary. But they will go back for a second run. And they'll get that quite comfortably as well. So this is turning out to be a pretty good over for the U-19s. $12 runs already in the over, and there's still 1 legal delivery left. 74, and make that 75 as they pinch another well-judged single. So the over finally comes to an end. 75 for 1 now after 11. Yeah, this is pretty good going. They need 55 runs. They have 54 balls in which to get those runs. It would be interesting to see how Prisons try to curb the flow of runs. In terms of stopping those quick singles that the youths have been taking quite frequently. They have really done a fantastic job, the youths, and Right now, I think Prisons might be a little bit worried because another over like that, and that will bring the equation decidedly in favor of the U-19s. And so Gervais Cummings is coming back. He bowled the first over and just conceded 2 runs. So I'm sure they'll be looking to him to rev it up again. He did bowl with some good pace, good carry. But if he strays at all, he could be in some problems. There's no slip. And this time there is a fine leg. Or actually, the short fine leg is a third man. And here they go again. Easy peasy. So 27 to Tariq Richards. Levi Gani is on 39 from 30. So Prisons, really, they can't make up their mind if they want a third man or if they want a fine leg. So they finally settle on the fine leg and the short third man. So the fine leg is back on the boundary. Cummings not happy, so he aborted that run up, but here he is again. And that one, that's a brilliant stop because anytime that had gone past him, that would have been 4 runs because it was traveling. But he did very well to dive across there and prevent that one from going through. That's the man, Calvin Williams. You can really see he's what we call a heart and soul cricketer. Here they go again, and that's really block and run. And there's nothing that the Prisons outfit can do about it. In fact, I think they've had one shy at the stumps to try to effect a run out because these runs have been so well judged. And it is understandable that on occasion they're going to probably get in a tight situation, maybe open up themselves to a run out, but that's the price you pay. And again, lovely stroke play from Richards. So Prisons just really taking their time to get into positions. They're not hustling at all. And, good bit of feel into his own ball in there from Gervais Cummings. Then he threatens to throw down the stumps. I don't think he would have been aiming at the stumps. He was threatening to probably fake out the batsman. And this one is hit in the air. It could be out court. There's a man coming in, but he certainly didn't judge it very well at all. He just kind of stood there, allowed the ball to climb to its highest point, and then when it was on his way down is when he started to move, when he should have done that movement earlier so he could get right under it. And in the end, the ball dropped about a meter in front of him, and the chance was gone by then. So just for a fleeting moment there, the youngsters almost open up the door for them. So 80 for 1, Richardson 29, Ghani on 41, and so Brandon Suklal is coming into the attack again. He was the one who failed to come in to take that catch. So maybe he had something up his sleeve. Feel he could get his man himself. Let's see if he's able to do that. Still no slip and no fine leg. There's just a man at short backward square, and now he's gone a little bit finer. And another comfortable single for these youngsters. You have to be impressed with the way they approach this target. They haven't gone about it in a rush or almost in a very workmanlike fashion. They've inched and inched and inched their way. There's some ways from the 100, so they need another 19 for that, and maybe when they get past 100, then they could start thinking about 130, and it's a really good shot, but just a single for them. And that's a big one. That's a huge 6. And you wonder, sooner or later, something's got to give. And there was your reply. He got under it and picked it up nicely, Ghani. And just kind of holds the pose after. And again, into the gap it goes, but it's going to be intercepted. They'll go back for a second run, though. And again, that's good running between the wickets from these youngsters. So Levi Ghani, 50 from 36 balls, 2 4s and 2 6s. So we've had a half centurion in the first innings for Prisons, and now we have one for the Utes. This is well played. It's in the gap, so they should come back for a comfortable 2. And really, they're beginning to make believers of the spectators. You're starting to hear more and more of them urging on the youngsters. Prisons find themselves all alone out there in the middle, trying to prevent this runaway train. Here's another one. This time he could be out caught. It goes high in the air, but it's going to take some catching. He cannot get there. They go back for the second run. They might even get a third. Yes, they're going back for the third run as it comes through. And really, talk about punishing. The batsmen are able to complete the 3 runs. And that completes the over, and at the end of it, 95 for 1 now after 13.
Oh, for sure.
Well, he never got his hands under it. That he was in the wrong. He was catching wind there. And Cummings. So he got plenty elevation, but he didn't get the distance required. But he got away with it as well because Cummings couldn't find it in the lights probably. But he has the ball in his hands now, so an opportunity for redemption. Again, he's driving uppishly into the gap. He'll go for one. There's ample opportunity for a second. And they'll take that too. So they're just picking them off here now. Just heard the siren passing in the background. And that one is going to go down into the deep. So every time they get the ball off the square, they're able to get another comfortable single. Even in the square sometimes, depending on how deep the players are, the fielders are, the batsmen are able to take off and complete those quick singles very, very reluctantly. Sometimes the bowlers would love to pitch it up, but right now the batsmen seem to be getting on top of the bowling. 38 to Richards. Ghani's on 58. And this one is edging. That's going to go down the hill. He's been trying to play that shot for quite a while, but the very alert Williams has been cutting them off. Not this time. So the 100 is on the board. It's 102 for 1 now. And Gervais Cummings. So he has naught for 14. So he's still not overly expensive. And trying his best here to swing that one. Probably could just play it on merit. Now they've dropped the third man down to the boundary, so they don't want to be leaking too many runs in that area. But that's a give me single every time. Just push it out into the offside square by the umpire. Easy run, possibly even 2. Turn it on the onside, just behind square. Easy runs, possibly 2 there as well. And or you can hit it that way for 4. Take your pick. Excellent shot there again by Richards. So I wonder now what is going through the mind of the skipper, Sidel Diaz. And there's the obligatory single. It's almost as if it's there for the taking every ball. 107 for 1 now. at the end of 14. So they need 23 runs, and they have 36 balls in which to get those runs. So this will be a stunning victory. So back here again, Prison's desperate for a wicket here now, but the Utes, they've already played this like the experienced ones. They really batted well. They've paced their respective innings. Vikash Rampasad is back into the attack now. And the youngster pulls this one and he hits it straight into his hands. He just got on his knees and turned it, but didn't hit it, didn't clear the fielder. And he goes for 39. That's the end of Tariq Richards. Caught well there by Dumont. Off the bowling of Rampasad. So it's now 107 for the loss of 2 wickets. So young Pollard strides to the wicket, has all the mannerisms of his dad. Just the way he holds the bat, just the way he walks to the crease, the way he fixes the helmet repeatedly with one hand. Amazing how sons pick up the traits of their dads, of their fathers. So Prisons finally gets a breakthrough. And it came after a 96-run partnership between those two, Ghani and Richards. And they were threatening to see the team home without any alarms, but they've picked up pepper. Can Prisons make further inroads? And Pollard stands up tall and punches it square. Didn't take the single. Normally, they're now going to have to recalibrate because I don't think Pollard is the run-hungry batsman in terms of running singles or turning ones into twos. And, again, just stroking it down to long on. And really has his old man treats almost to a fault. And here they go again to pick off another comfortable single. And that's probably the one area that might change here now is the running between the wickets, because I don't think Pollard is as in tune as Richards was. And again, easy does it for Pollard, just allowing it to turn into him. Took an easy single, just tucked it down to long leg. And that's a good shot. That's into the gap there. I don't think he's going to get across in time. He doesn't. It's 4 runs. Try as he did there, Williams. He was too wide. And the ball was too to end the over. At this same stage, after 15 overs, the Prisons outfit, they were 102 for the loss of 3 wickets. So in almost every aspect, Prisons find themselves behind the 8 ball here. They need somebody to come and give them a minor miracle. So they need another 16 runs. And they have 30 balls to get those runs. They could get them in singles. Prisons has to be careful. They have to commit a couple of fielders into that circle and just try to cut out the singles, maybe effect a run out or something. Here is Cyril Diaz, the captain. They've been punished by these youngsters so far this evening with the running between the wickets. How can they now plug those gaps? Make it difficult for them. Gonna try again. Diaz. Pollard is swinging right across the line there. And might be lucky there because I don't know if that ball bounced as high as it might have appeared. Yes, it much too high on that occasion. And that's a good shot. He's really a powerful man. Good quick bat speed as well. But they will continue to plug away here. 15 more required. They have 27 balls, so they could do it in singles if they want to. But who needs singles when you could pinch off a boundary like that? It was a wide delivery. Could easily have left it, but he went chasing after it, Ghani, and picks up another boundary. 4 more. So that brings the equation down even better for the U-19s. And that's another great shot. And that's beautifully played. And so he goes screaming along. That's a nice half volley. And he says, thank you very much. Between the cover and the extra cover. And it's 123 for 2. So we could probably end it in this over if he wants, but I suppose he will but they'll have to probably get just the one ball remaining in this over. They need another 7 runs. So Diaz. And they're trying here. They're going to get the leg by, but you could see like he was trying to lift him out the ground. And that ends the over. And at the end of 16, it's 124. Those 2 wickets. So they only need 6 more runs to complete a remarkable victory. The first for the youngsters in this competition.
Four overs still remain here. 6 runs only for the under-19 team here to get. It's been a brilliant performance so far. That man on screen there, Levi Gani, 72 up until this point. Can he take them all the way? Juve Cummins returns for his final over. He's been quite on point today. No wickets, but kept things very economical. Just 2 fielders in the deep, the current moment. Long off and deep mid wicket. Cummins back in here. And a brilliant Yorker at this stage. But they're definitely going to need something more than that if they can make a game of this, Prisons. Only 5 runs away is Fial under 19. Caden Pollard on strike. Is he going to finish it in style like his father did so many times before? Well, that's hit him on the pad. They scamper through for what is likely to be a leg by. Waiting for the signal. Did he get some bat on it though? No signal there, so did get some bat. Was angled in to the batter there, following him on that occasion. Brings that required amount of runs down to 4. Short this time, pull shot, and has it going all the way. It's 1 bounce over the rope, and that's all that's going to be required. Here, Fial, under 19, with their first victory of the tournament, and quite a comprehensive one there as well, winning this match by 8 wickets. Brilliant end to this match here. Levi Gani taking them home, 76 not out from 47 deliveries. It's been a brilliant performer here with the bat, as he has been all season. And we'll wait to see post-match presentation very shortly. As from up here, it's gonna be it from up here. Thank you very much and good night. And do join us again tomorrow for more action in this T20 Festival 2026. Be action in Group B tomorrow. So do stay tuned for that. And do stay tuned for the post-match presentation very shortly.
And we have a short presentation here for you. But again, let's hear it for both teams here this evening, the Fial under-19s and Prisons Sports Club. Again, the Trinidad and Tobago Cricket Board will acknowledge and thank the Caribbean Premier League, the Trinidad and Tobago Knight Riders, and Queen's Park Cricket Club for their continued support of the Trinidad T20 Festival 2026 and their ongoing commitment to cricket development here in Trinidad and Tobago. At this time, I would like to invite Mr. Jawad Budram, the broker development underwriter from Najiko, to make the presentation to tonight's man of the match, Levi Ghani. 76 not out from 47 balls, 6 fours and 2 sixes. More importantly, led his team to a wonderful 8-wicket victory. Congratulations. Can I get the two? Well, let me just have a quick word with you here, talk a little bit about your innings, how you felt during this knock. You felt confident throughout?
Well, first of all, I want to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for today. This knock meant a lot to me because we, as the under-19 team, we haven't won a game during this tournament, and it felt really good playing this game today and me just helping my team get a win under our belts.
Okay, 130, not a big total. I'm sure at the halfway stage you felt confident that you could chase it down.
Yeah, I mean, as an opening batsman, your duty is to set a foundation. And I think the partnership that me and Turk Richards had, that just shifted the game in our hands. And yeah.
All right, congratulations, Levi. Well played.
Thank you.
Of course, let's get the captain here. Can you get Mr. Diaz to come forward? And I know this is the circumstance that you would like, but I'm sure as somebody who's played the game for as long as you have, you must tip your hat to these youngsters for this performance today.
Sure, well good wrongly knocked by Ghani and Richards. I felt that they played the game to the best of their ability, and they played straight, they played no rush shots. Hats off to them then.
How about your team? 129, you probably felt it was about 30 or 40 runs short?
Maybe about 40 runs short, but hats off to them again. They played well, and kudos to them.
Okay. And where do you go from here now? What can you take from this and how you look to build as you go forward?
All the wrongs. You just need to go back to the joint table and come again.
All right, thanks so much, and tough luck on the night. Let's bring the captain, Mr. Budru. And Brendan, congratulations. I know you were waiting on this victory for a while now. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling really good, seeing the boys gel together and coming here and being victorious in this third game we have.
What was the thinking coming into this? Is this a game you felt you could win?
Yeah, I would say the two teams are evenly matched, seeing the results from the previous games, and we are feeling confident knowing that with our skill set we can win this game.
Okay, a thought on Levi?
Yeah, he batted really well once again. 76 not out, so it was a really well played innings with the other batsmen, and kudos to them and the bowling and the way we carried about ourselves today.
Okay, well that's good. Now how does this kind of set you up for the rest of the tournament? How are you feeling?
Well, for the rest of the tournament, we'll just take this positive vibe and go into the last game as well as our competition in Antigua.
Okay, well, Brendan, congratulations and all the best going forward.
Thank you.
So there you have it from the victorious captain here this evening as the U-19s come away with an 8-wicket victory over Prisons. That's the situation here.